What's up, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital. Welcome to your market recap video. It is August 2nd of 2022. Let's dive into today's price action. Today is August 2nd. August, remember, it's a very choppy month, and we did get a choppy tape today. S&P 500 finished down 0.66%, closed towards the lows of the day. And we probably did take in a lot of dip buyers. That as the market was moving to the highs, maybe they got a little bit excited. Maybe you were one of them, maybe you weren't, but that's definitely noteworthy to carry forward in your market narrative. NASDAQ QQQ was down 0.3%. Our IWM small caps were down just a smidge, only down 0.1%, leading versus mega caps. Dow Jones was down 1.22%, and our ARK Innovation ETF was our top performer. It actually finished up 2.67%. And you'll notice most of these indices, aside from ARK, they did close in the lower end of their day's range. We did have a boost in volatility elevated today. And we did have overall, I would call this like mixed to weak breadth. Was this a washout? No, it certainly wasn't. There were some strong stocks that were still moving to the upside, one of which I traded, which was AEHR. But overall, there was definitely some weakness. We only had 37.5% up volume. And my trend model remains at a +1. This actually flipped yesterday. And this does a really good job at just keeping me on the right side of the market and keeping me from taking on a bit too much risk. So let's dive in here. What did we have? Let me actually just close out this Benzinga Newswire. This thing is being incredibly annoying. My apologies. All right, so let's dive in. Let's go to our FinViz heat map and just see what we experienced today. You can see pretty broad weakness across the board. There were a few mega cap tech stocks that were keeping the market afloat. We had Nvidia, Google, and Tesla all doing their part. But you can see Microsoft and Apple are down. And it really just looks like there was some profit taking across the board. Remember, July, the market went up. I think it was like an 11% advance. That's over 1 year's worth of returns at the headline index level in a single month. Now, I know this is always the way it goes. I can tell from just the sentiment on FinTwit. Once the rally becomes so obvious and all the stocks are moving and everything's breaking out, all that stuff, that's usually when you're getting to the latter stages of a rally rather than the beginning stages. The beginning stages when everything is still basing and you're starting to see the relative strength and you're starting to see these higher lows forming, that sort of thing. But now we're getting to the, I don't want to call it a blow off phase, but you know what I'm saying. All right, let's take a look. We have our sectors. Solar energy was up 0.98%. We did have Solar Edge report earnings after the bell. They actually had a whiff on their earnings report. I believe they're down about 10%. We can take a look at that stock. But we did have some areas of strength. MSOS Cannabis was up almost 4%. What else do we have? Our KWEB ETF finished out higher on the day. And let's talk about Nancy Pelosi. What happened today? So basically the Chinese government, they said, hey, if Nancy Pelosi goes over to Taiwan, that is a no-no. We're not going to accept that. And we're going to respond with our military. And the U.S. sent Nancy Pelosi. She did land down in Taiwan. And so far, nothing has happened. So far, the Chinese just said, we're going to do some military drills. I believe it was between August 4th and August 7th. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with that situation. That still is an unknown on the table. They could announce something in the next few days for all we know. So that's why, again, with the trend model flipping from +3 to +1, having already had, just a beautiful rally that we experienced and not wanting to be greedy, and then having that binary event risk hanging over us, it really just is a tape where I don't want to get as carried away with options. My goal for August is take shorter duration trades, like I guess I'll call them scalps, but just if the market moves higher, take some profits into it. That way, if and when the market dips, I'm not going to be like stopping out of everything and losing my mind. High beta finished up 0.06%. That is good. The high beta was the leader for style factors. And let's just jump over to our headline indices and see where we are at for today. S&P 500, you can see we pulled back to the 5-day EMA, which again, that's just a routine baby pullback. Could we go all the way back down to the 20-day simple moving average? We certainly could. So that's why, again, risk reward. Think about where you are in the technical roadmap. Here's our hourly chart, and this is our weekly value area. I'm watching this 40.36.5 level because I think, say we do get a tape bomb from China or bad earnings reports, whatever you want to call it. Let's just say like the market just drags a little bit in August. I think this could be a pretty good landing spot for the market. And from there, we'll have to see if some buyers actually step in and support the market at this 40.36 spot 5 level. Now let's take a look briefly at the other indices. Then we'll take a look at Sedge, some of the names that reported after the bell. NASDAQ, not a bad candle. You can see pulled back to the 5-day EMA, found some bids. Not bad at all. Russell 2000 also pulled back to the 5-day EMA. Noteworthy, this actually put in a green candle. So interesting, small caps showing relative strength versus megas. And our Dow Jones, looks like this one was pretty relatively weak. It actually closed below the 5-day EMA. And oddly enough, everyone's buzzing about the US-China tensions. K-Web actually put in a green candle today. And we closed just below this bottom of the monthly value area. Now let's check out some of the names that reported earnings. We did have Sedge after the bell. Wow, and Sedge is actually getting licked. Sedge, I wouldn't call it like a catastrophe of an earnings report, but I do believe they had a slight miss. And this one is trading below this weekly point of control. Now, I'm very curious to see how this translates into Enphase. Enphase, we had some very nice trades in this stock. We rode this bad boy up from about 180 bucks to 280, but I did not catch this last part of the rally up to almost 300 bucks. That's something I'm perfectly comfortable with. Never going to sell the high in the stock. But that said, I do want to get back into the stock if we get a pullback. So I have an alert set here at around 258 bucks. So far I see the stock, it's only down a couple dollars in the after hours. There's two ways this Sedge earnings report could be interpreted. One is, oh my gosh, these solar stocks are overvalued, they all drop. Two is, hey, these solar companies, they're all very different. Enphase had a beat and raise quarter. Sedge had a whiff quarter. So hey, let's move out of Sedge and let's continue to pile into Enphase. And I think there's a high chance that it could be the latter, where Enphase continues to shine. But we'll have to see how that price action unfolds. In terms of my trades for today, let's jump over here and let's see what I did. Again, no options trades because I want to make sure I don't want to get eaten up by theta decay in case we just get a really bumpy ride over the next month. So I'm going to pull this up over here. So this is the actual trades channel where all these trades are posted. And you can see today I got long AEHR. This was a name that we've been watching very closely. This was on our Pristine Capital weekend watch list. I added a position in the pre-market for $12.20. And then I added at $11.27 for $12.75. And at 103, so just like an hour and a half later, I actually closed out half the trade for $13.33. And honestly, it's just, hey, I've only been in this trade for like 3 hours and it's already up 9%. Given that we're in such a choppy tape, I was like, you know what? I'm going to book something because the market was really just moving to the upside. But AEHR, this still looks fantastic. It's still showing very nice relative strength compared to a lot of the other semiconductors peers. So this is definitely a name, got to keep it on the radar. And it's actually pretty funny. So I talked about this name in a Twitter space yesterday. And this is the last time I talk about a stock in a Twitter space where Pristine Capital members don't already own it and I don't already own it. Because this is a very, I don't want to call it an illiquid stock. It trades millions of shares a day. Or yeah, you can see average volume is 531,000. Today it traded 1.691 million. So it's on the lower band of liquidity that I trade personally. But yeah, if I got a big position to put on, it's actually kind of tough to get this stock on for my portfolio. So yeah, that's the last time that I talk about a stock like this that we haven't entered on Twitter Spaces. Because then as it moved, we started getting some people that were on the space like tweeting about it. I'm like, oh God, that's like the last thing that I want. Like a bunch of like punters on FinTwit like trying to buy the shares that I'm trying to buy. So anyway, yeah, last time I ever do that. But AEHR still looks very good. And if we get some sort of pullback, I'll be looking to add back what I sold to the position. With that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. I think we still have to be on high alert for August. And honestly, for me, the main priority, August, I'm not planning on having some like gangbusters performance month. August is typically very difficult for me. So my goal is, hey, if the market chops around, I don't want to get chopped up. If I can have some base hits in August, that's great. And that's a really successful month. All right, everyone, have a great night.